Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wellbeing Connection. Thanks for joining me this Wednesday. My name is Joni Rampolla, one of the registered licensed dietitians with your Giant and Martin's. And today our topic is eating to lower blood pressure. So before I get started, I know you've seen our disclaimer 100 times, but just want to show it one more time to say this is not meant as your personal medical advice. This is not dietitian giving you personal things to talk about. You need to work with your individual healthcare providers. So I do talk to people that may say they think high blood pressure isn't a big deal. And that's because you take a pill, it's managed, it doesn't matter. But nope, wrong, it does matter. High blood pressure or hypertension is known as a silent killer because there are usually no symptoms. People don't feel anything even when their blood pressure gets too high. It can increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, or kidney disease. And it happens when the force of blood pushing against the walls of your arteries is consistently too high. So you could get one reading and then the next one normal. It's considered high blood pressure or hypertension when it's consistently too high. And these are the different categories. And I feel like this is a topic that we could talk forever on, his blood pressure. I'm kind of skimming the surface here. But what I want you to know is a normal or healthy blood pressure is having the top number or your systolic number less than 120 and your bottom number or diastolic being less than 80. So that is normal. And then it goes through a little bit elevated or stage 1, stage 2. And then they call it a hypertensive crisis, meaning if your blood pressure gets higher, the top number than 180 or the bottom number higher than 120, you need to either call your doctor immediately or go to an emergency room. That's considered a crisis level. So hopefully nobody gets there, that you're in one of the steps before that. So high level overview, how do you manage blood pressure? Eating a heart healthy diet. So 2 ways of eating stand out in my mind. One is the Mediterranean diet, which we've had lots of classes on, and happy to answer any questions about that. Or the second is a DASH diet. DASH stands for, it's specifically for hypertension, stopping hypertension. Watch your portion sizes of what you eat to maintain that healthy weight. Reduce sodium. And also, in addition to reducing sodium, make sure that you include potassium-rich food sources. And we're going to talk more about that. Limit alcohol. Include physical activity regularly. Reduce stress, right? Stress can raise your blood pressure. We all know that. And you have to find what's right for you, whether it's physical activity, meditation, yoga, deep breathing, knitting, journaling. Find something that you just find calming, whatever that is for you. And everybody's is going to be different. There's no one thing. If you smoke, quit smoking. That can improve your blood pressure for the better. And then take a blood pressure medication if one is prescribed. There are key nutrients that you can eat that do help lower blood pressure. And potassium is a big one. Potassium is an essential mineral that plays a vital role in your muscle function. So muscle contraction, your nerve signaling, and also your blood pressure regulation. While most fruits and vegetables are rich in potassium, some fish also contain a significant amount, such as salmon or tuna, cod, or halibut. So listed some high potassium foods there. Again, it's really all fruits and vegetables, but some of the key ones are bananas, spinach, potatoes, beans. Magnesium supports blood vessel relaxation, and we find magnesium, again, in many sources, but main ones are nuts, seeds, whole grains, leafy greens like your spinach, kale, green beans, or avocado. And then calcium. Calcium is important for blood pressure regulation as well, and that is found in our dairy products, in fortified plant-based milk. Some of them are fortified with calcium. Sometimes orange juice is fortified with calcium. Almonds, tofu, leafy green vegetables again. And then fiber is also important. So fiber helps maintain healthy cholesterol levels and supports overall heart health. For individuals with hypertension, experts recommend consuming at least 28 grams of fiber per day for women and 38 grams of fiber per day for men. So where do we get our fiber? It's in our fruits, our vegetables, our whole grains, our beans and legumes, our nuts, our seeds. That's the main source of fiber. And then, so those are the key nutrients that you should incorporate. Oh, I see I have a question here. I can't see the chat right now. Oh, yep. Thank you. Got you. That wasn't really a question. It was a comment, but yep. So then those were key nutrients to add. And then there are some key nutrients that you should limit or avoid. And you can't avoid sodium, right? But that is one to limit. And it's recommended daily intake be less than 2,300 milligrams for all Americans. And if your blood pressure is elevated, to even take it maybe a little bit lower to 1,500 milligrams a day. Common sources of sodium are really processed foods. Like we know if we eat a cracker or a potato chip or a pretzel, we understand that that's salty tasting. It contains sodium. But where we may not notice it is in our salad dressing or our tomato sauce or our soup package or our instant oatmeal. So it's hidden in a lot of processed foods that we may not be aware of. It's also in frozen entrees. So you're thinking about, oh, I need that convenience of a frozen entree. It's a high sodium food in most cases. Deli meats or sauces, condiments is a lot of the places where we get that extra sodium, and just trying to heighten your awareness to it. That's all. Added sugars is another one. You can't really avoid added sugars, or it's hard to avoid added sugars because again, it's in a lot of processed foods unless we cut out processed foods. So not telling you to cut it out, but the more you can reduce, the better. And then excess alcohol, limiting to a moderate consumption, which would be 1 drink a day for women and 2 for men. All right, so why am I talking about sodium? And these statistics were shocking to me. 9 in 10 Americans eat more sodium than is recommended for a healthy diet. That's just about all of us, right? Nearly half of American adults have high blood pressure. 48%, like that's huge. 90% of all American adults are expected to develop high blood pressure or hypertension in their lifetime. That's amazing to me. And thinking about it, I feel like that could be part of, do we eat institutional food sometime as we age? I think that might be some of it too. Consuming too much sodium is strongly linked to the development or worsening of high blood pressure. So the higher your salt intake gets, the more likely you are to either worsen or develop high blood pressure. So many people say, I'm good, I don't use a salt shaker. But again, that's not where we're getting our sodium from, the salt shaker. So here's a little graph that shows where Americans get their sodium from. So while they're eating, you may get 6% of your sodium from that. That's your salt shaker that you add. Naturally occurring in food, because there's always some in food, is 12%. So if I eat a green bean right out of the garden, it still may have 5 milligrams of sodium or 15 milligrams of sodium. There's some in there. Home cooking, right? I add a little salt when I cook. But the biggest piece is when we eat out at restaurants or processed foods. So restaurants use salt because it tastes good, because it's a preservative, because it helps the color or the texture. Or if it's a bread product, right? You need it, I don't know, maintains its texture that way. So salt is in almost everything that we buy that is processed, not its straight up form. So we're going to play a little game here. I should open up chat so I can see it because I can't see it right now. There we go. Celery has sodium too. Oh my. Okay. So how many milligrams of sodium do you think is in one slice of American cheese? And I do want to say that this has nothing to do with the brand. I just pulled a picture off our website, but this is really any brand. All right. And the correct answer is 330 milligrams. That's one slice. You see the picture there has two slices. That's only one slice for 330. When we think how many slices do we put on a grilled cheese or on our sandwich? Just something to think about. All right, 1 cup of wheat checks. How many milligrams of sodium? So wheat checks to me is one of the healthier cereals, right? Watching your answers roll in. I love it. 340 milligrams for 1 cup. And when you eat cereal, do you eat just 1 cup or is that number a little bit higher? Because that's something to think about too. All right. 1/2 of a cup. So not even a whole cup, half a cup of traditional pasta sauce. You guys are good. 450 milligrams in just half a cup. I know I usually eat more than half a cup. And this one was surprising to me. So I was looking at bread and I'm like, all right, I want to put bread because I know that's a big source of our sodium. This is one slice of bread. Like, come on, we don't eat one slice of bread, right? One slice has 130 milligrams. We typically eat 2 slices. But when looking at breads, some breads, like our brand, the serving size is 2 slices. So it was like 230. So it's less than, if I broke it down to one slice, it'd be less than this, but the number is 230 because it's for 2 slices. Then the thin cut bread, their serving size was 3 slices because they're thin and they were getting the carbohydrates equal to the bigger. So you got to look at the serving size is really important when you're looking at um, how much sodium it contains. Yes, so to get that sodium limit to 2,300 milligrams a day is ideal. For various reasons, somebody may be told they need to lower it a little bit more to 1,500 milligrams. And doing that, following one of those two guidelines based on where you fall, may lower high blood pressure 5 to 6 points. So to lower sodium in the diet, read your food labels, look at the serving size, eat fewer processed foods. Even though we know sodium occurs naturally in foods as well. And then, table salt isn't the main place where we get our sodium. So to me, not the biggest deal, but if you want to cut back and try more herbs, spices, lemon juice, things to add some flavor. And then just some label lingo. Sodium-free or salt-free means the product has less than 5 milligrams per serving. Very low sodium has 35 milligrams or less. Reduced sodium, at least 25% less than their original version. light in salt, 50% less than their original version. A low sodium food has, and that just isn't always on a label, just low sodium food, 140 milligrams or less per serving. So you have to know what the serving size is. And then unsalted or no added salt. And if I look at our vegetables that are no added salt in a can versus those that do not say no added salt, it's a significant difference. All right, so we are going to make a recipe today. And I am going to turn on my stove, start heating it up. Why I chose this recipe? It's a cod recipe, and cod contains potassium, magnesium, and some omega-3 fatty acids. It's also low in fat and calories. It has potatoes, so it's cod, potatoes, and green beans. Potatoes are a rich source of potassium, which is a mineral that helps counteract the effects of sodium, and that sodium can actually raise blood sugar. And then green beans contain folate and potassium, which can also regulate blood sugar. So this is the recipe we're making: Parmesan crusted cod with potatoes and green beans, and most recipes do not get 3 guiding stars. That is hard to find one that does, and this one does. Guiding stars is our nutritional navigation system. 1 star is good, 2 stars is better, 3 stars is best. And if you're looking in our store for a product, if you look at the shelf tag, you see the price to the right of the price. If it does earn a guiding star, you'll see that blue banner going down with the apple at the top and then the stars underneath. Items earn guiding stars for more vitamins, minerals, fiber, whole grains, or omega-3 fatty acids, things your body loves and wants, and less of the things that your body doesn't want: saturated fat, trans fat, added sodium, added sugar, or artificial color. So this is our recipe. These are the steps, and I'm just going to talk you through it because I want to make this. And let's get cooking. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right, let me just check here. It looks like I have. All right, I am going to start making this recipe. So first, I preheat my oven to broil, and then I also am heating up a skillet right here because we're going to use both. In this little bowl, I just bought regular panko breadcrumbs, pre-measured out, half a cup. Grated Parmesan cheese, straight up, half a cup, measured it out. And this is a mixture of just, garlic powder and Italian seasoning, and I mix those together. And this is what's going to top our cod. So I'm just going to mix this up. So the seasoning, the panko, and the Parmesan is what's in here. So I bought frozen cod. You can buy the fillets right from the counter, just as good. I just bought it frozen because I wasn't in the store today. And I am choosing to only use 2 out of that batch. It says use the big casserole pan. I just sprayed my pan, put my cod in here. And then we are going to brush the cod with Dijon mustard. So I pulled out my Dijon mustard. I'm going to brush that on my cod. And I put my cod already in the pan because I didn't want to touch it while on here if I had to touch other ingredients. So there's obviously more that I made because this is supposed to be 4 pieces, and I'm just doing 2 right now. My other pieces are sitting there. Then I'm going to top it with this topping. So I'm just sprinkling it on. And then once it's on, it just says press down the topping to make it stick to the fish. And then we pop this in the oven. How easy is that, right? And that cooks for 8 to 10 minutes. Oh, we're supposed to. So here's just some spray. It said spray it after you put the topping on. I'm going to pull it back out and spray it. The speedy version. Then in this pan, I'm going to just add some olive oil. My favorite cooking oil is always olive oil. And then I just bought yellow potatoes, just a little. You're supposed to use the whole thing. I didn't use the whole thing. But it said cut them in a 1/4 inch. So I took each potato and I made 2 knife cuts in them so that they just kind of separate like that. So I got 3 slices out of each potato. All right, so we got that. Then to this pan, we're going to add our green beans, garlic. We have minced garlic. I'm going to throw that in there too. And I just have jarred minced garlic. You could have fresh garlic that you mince in there, whatever works for you. 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to put in my 2 tablespoons. I'm going to put in, I slice this many potatoes. And again, I didn't, like the recipe called for the whole bag. I didn't use the whole bag. I'm just using what I think works with my only 2 portions of fish. I will put in my potatoes and then my green beans. And somehow I am going to use the whole bag of green beans because I love green beans. Rip that bag open. And then we let this sit in the pan. It's just my green beans, my potatoes, olive oil. I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit because I see I only have like 5 minutes left. So we may not, I may have to just send a picture, may not see the whole thing. I'm going to put some liquid in here so that it cooks a little bit better. 1/2 cup. Put the lid on it and let that do its thing. So I have 1 cooking in the oven, 1 cooking up here. And then when they are done, you put the green beans and the potato mixture on a plate and top it with your cod. And it makes a delicious entree. Love fish without the bones. Absolutely, I agree. Sending a picture works. Stay until it's done. Okay, yes, it's going to be a little bit later. Then I only have 4 minutes left. But it only takes like 10 minutes, so it's quick. Really quick and easy recipe. But that's it. All these ingredients just rose together in less than 10 minutes. So that's why I love it too. And it's balanced meal. We always talk about balance for health, for blood sugar. And let me see, I wrote down how many milligrams of sodium in this meal. It's 397 milligrams of sodium, where if you think of that absolute lowest number, that is 1500 milligrams, I like dividing that by 3 and go, does it fit, right? So it should be around 500 milligrams if you're trying to hit that lowest number, and this is less than that. It's 397, so it's an amazing recipe. If you go in to look at frozen entrees, like I usually use 600 milligrams, try and find one that's under that. You can do it, but it's very hard. Most are not that. Many are over 1,000. You are quite welcome. How does barramundi fish compare? Yeah, barramundi would be awesome as well. If you eat lunch after these classes, you eat healthier. I love that. Let me see, I'm going to stir this up a little bit. Definitely not done yet. Need to get those green beans. I like them. I call it tender crisp, where they're tender. They're right now still hard. Oh, love fish and seafood recipes. Great information and food ideas for meals. Yes. I will send the info and a recipe. Absolutely. And a picture. Yes. Delicious low cholesterol Lenten meal. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate. Utz makes a no salt chip. Got it at the Utz factory. Love it. Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate all the positive comments there in chat. Thank you. Great. Will those potatoes cook that quickly? They do, because so if you look at how tiny the potatoes are, they're super tiny potatoes, and I cut them in 3 slices. So they're really small. And with the lid on the pot, they get done in that 10-minute time frame. Oh, so good. Can chicken be substituted for the cod? Absolutely. Yeah, so if I want to do this the easy way, I would take a sheet pan, put my cod, chicken, whatever I wanted on that sheet pan, and add the potatoes and the green beans to the sheet pan and shove it all in the oven. But this is just a little bit different. Oh, thank you. Classes are so informative. Appreciate that. All right, everybody, we are just about 12:30. So I will send you a picture of this when it's done. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Bye, everyone.